here's my take on it, Alex. And what from my research and from my talk with National Guardsmen, I've learned that there is a huge swath of good Americans who are serving this country, and they have said that they will refuse the orders when it comes down to take the guns and to round up people. But the powers that be, the New World Order, needs the private mercenary army to fill the gap when the American military decides, the grunts, the hardworking guys, decide they're not going to follow these orders. I mean, they're out there saying it. So these mercenary forces like Blackwater, like American Police Force, are there to fill the void.
Well, they certainly are. But I know Ron Paul got more contributions than anybody else from the military, and I know I run into a lot of even TSA people when I'm flying that are fans and want my signature. The majority of them, it's freaking me out. But then I go to places like Billings, Montana, and they were the worst Nazis I've ever seen, harassing old ladies, us. Really embarrassing. I was embarrassed for them. Sickening. Power trip. But you look at yesterday, 400 people show up in the park. They're peaceful. They're told you're not allowed to protest. They arrest them. G20, old women coming out of stores with bags going, what's going on, officer? Shut up, bitch. Hitting her with clubs, police dogs attacking her, and then the cops defend it. Driving down neighborhoods, hitting 9-year-old kids in their front yard playing football. I mean, the cops were out of control. My guys got footage hiding in stores of them just driving around, attacking anybody on the street. Then they go over and attack the university 2 nights in a row. My guys weren't there on the 24th, so I said, go over there on the 25th. They surrounded the park, wouldn't let the media out, arrested Rob Dew, beat up Luke Radowski, and then charged Dew with stuff the night before, even though he wasn't even there. He's charged with the 24th. And we've called the prosecutor, and you're like, that's the way it is. We don't care if it's the wrong day. Go to hell's. It's just a criminal government, and the National Guard was ready to fire sound cannons at people. The police enjoyed running up to women, little, college girls, and going, ah, and hitting them with clubs. And then hitting them again when they try to get up. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of police and military say they're awake, but I think under peer pressure, if they told them to take a 2-year-old baby and shoot it in the back of the head, I think they'd do it.
We had our own cameraman out there for our show, The Reality Report, Lee. He was rounded up right alongside Lee, and all he was doing, or he was rounded up right alongside Luke, and all he was doing was pointing a camera in the direction of tyranny. These police, like you say, when they're lined up, when they've got all their body armor on, they've got their gas. Yes, there is a gang mentality that takes over, and they want that paycheck. So we have to get to the police and military. We have to reach out to them. They are the front lines, and we have to wake them up too.
Well, absolutely. Well, let me get into the Hardin situation. We found out last Sunday, I heard about it Friday, didn't check into it, but not this Sunday, but the same before, like 10, 11 days ago, we found out that this guy was a felon. We found out he had aliases. We found out he was tied into these other defense contractors. We found out he didn't have a license to take over the giant detention center, $27 million. They were policing the town. They had gone to city council saying, we're going to be your new police. That's now admitted in the news, Billings Gazette. And I went to Hardin, and the locals were most of them were fans of the show. It blew me away. But the constabulary, the local sheriff's people and others, they were on power trips saying, why don't you get out of here? You don't belong around here. But this guy's from Serbia. Well, we like him. And I would say, but he's a convicted felon. He's a con artist. He doesn't have the money to lease this facility. He's in a police uniform. He's just going to suck off the town. He's a convicted 14-time grand, theft criminal. He wants to be in a badge and gun, a true criminal regime. And they said, we don't care if he's a criminal. Some of the locals told me, because they felt like they were part of the establishment, and they said, no, he's real. Now, he's the head of American Police Force. Then they called up a lawyer who was supposedly the head, and he said, no, I'm not even part of it. Now, they described the Two Rivers Authority meeting last night in the Billings Gazette as if the one guy was bad who'd said, I don't want to be part of this and this is a fraud. The other members were still saying, we want to do this deal. So even when they know it's a con artist, know it's a fraud, know it's a scam, the locals wanted to literally police the town themselves and literally be predators. And here it is. Red flags caused Montana officials to nix American police force deal. There was no deal. It was a scam. California judge orders head of Hardin Jail Project to court for millions of dollars of fraud. Two Rivers board raises questions about Hardin prison contract. It's all a fraud. APF frontman loses credibility in Hardin. The reason I bring this up, guys, is that if mercenaries can just show up, and he did have German and other mercenaries with him, and think they're just going to, and they were going to get away with it till we got involved, the listeners especially. And we are blamed by the locals for stopping it. They're very angry. They're not mad that we warned them about a con artist. They wanted to be part of it. They wanted to do this. They loved him. It was, thugs loving thugs. That in America, any type of criminal operation can just take over as long as it's wearing a badge. Gary Franchi?
Well, they are willing to take the money and run. That's what it comes down to, They get these big promises from this guy, this fraud, this charlatan, to come into town like the snake oil salesman. I'm gonna boost your economy. I'm gonna bring all these jobs, and I'm gonna employ all of your people. That's all they saw. That's all they saw. They didn't look at the repercussions. They just saw the dollar sign.
I want to get William Lewis's take on this, but there's the big development. He did meet with a bunch of big defense contractors. He was talking about contracting with them there, but they aren't involved. There are no backers. It's all a complete fraud. And the local town boss hogs, they love him.